Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fields and Knight Stadium at Southern Virginia University in this afternoon's Capital Athletic Conference women's soccer matchup featuring the Knights from Southern Virginia University and the visiting captains of Christopher Newport. I'm Nick Porter, joined along by Sam Horman, bringing you live action from Buena Vista. Sam, take us through some of today's starters.
All right, for the captains of Christopher Newport today in goal, we're having Maddie Bellinger. Number 0, number 1, Maxine Boris. Number 3, Carson Picorni. Number 4, Shane Doherty. Number 5, Kylie McCarthy. Number 17, Sydney Reif. Number 19, Riley Cook. Number 24, Logan Montel. Number 25, Gabby Gillis. Number 29, Danielle Pratt. And number 35, Alexi Manley. And for your Southern Virginia Knights, we have number 4, Allie Rigby. Number 5, Alyssa Winterton. Number 6, Shirley Morales-Yan. Number 8, Cora Jewell. Number 10, Clarissa Barton. Number 14, Ann Powell. Number 16, Airdrie Palmer. Number 20, Cyan Smith. Number 21, Kira Tolbert. Number 22, Taylor Mercer. And number 33 in goal for the Knights, Meredith Woulette.
The Knights are coming into this afternoon's game sitting at 3-6-1. 0-2 in conference play as they opened that last week or 2 Saturdays ago with a 1-0 loss at home to Salisbury and a 3-0 loss on the road at Penn State Harrisburg. Christopher Newport comes in ranked 9th in the country according to the United Soccer Coaches poll. And they come off are in the middle of a 7-game win streak, 9-0-1, suffered a draw with Virginia Wesleyan in a game that they didn't go to overtime because of a lightning delay, so they called that after regulation and it ended in a draw. So, Sam, what do you expect to see here tonight from both teams?
I think we're expecting a lot of offense. CNU definitely has brought a lot of heat in their previous games. As you mentioned, their record speaks for itself, 9-0-1 with the draw. As you mentioned, could have gone to overtime. Maybe would have seen a different outcome with a win or a loss. Hard to say, but they definitely bring a lot of offense. They average a lot of shots per game. They average a lot of goals. They're averaging almost 4 goals a game. They have had a couple of games that have gone very high scoring, and so that does factor in. But they definitely have a very, very heavy attack, and I think the Knights are going to need to counter that by slowing down the game, trying to keep a lot of possession, which does fit into their style well. So we'll see how they hold off the captain's attack early.
So keys to the game here for the Knights, looking for possession to create some offense, and goal is, as you mentioned, Maddie Bellinger, a sophomore from Alexandria, Virginia, who has just 80 minutes on the season. So testing out a goalkeeper, getting some shots on goal will be a key. Keeping possession and kind of holding back that captain's attack will be important for the Knights' offense and the Knights' defense.
Yeah, I think that is one area where the Knights should go in early, is recognize that they do have a younger goalkeeper than the captains normally use. Maybe some inexperience, may make a couple of mistakes. I think if the Knights can get downfield, take advantage of that, even with some long-range shots we've seen in the past, they're definitely not afraid to shoot from 30 yards out or more. So I think challenge the keeper early, and then maybe they can get something to rattle in.
And right off the bat, CNU takes the ball down to the other end, off of the captains. Goal kick coming out for Meredith Woulette as she looks to start the Knights' first run of the game. Unfortunate foul called there on Allie Rigby. We'll give CNU a free kick. You know, Allie Rigby, a freshman from Rexburg, Idaho, has had a great freshman season this year, leading the Knights with 6 goals. Her parents are actually here in Buena Vista, visiting from Idaho Falls.
Made the long trip out.
You know all about that long trip.
I do, actually. Make it every semester.
Well, it's great when athletes' parents are able to come out and visit, especially those from Idaho, Utah, and out west, and have a lot of players from out west. And we're happy to have them. You and I are both from there, Idaho Falls and South Ogden, Utah. So
Absolutely, and this is a good game to come out for. It's one of the best teams the Knights are going to play all year. So, you know, good to see where your children are playing at, the level of competition that they're competing at. It's just, fun to come out and be in the atmosphere as well, especially with the new stadium and just experiencing campus and everything.
Cordial wins a ball there in midfield. Up to Rigby and later ricochets out of bounds. The Captains to throw. And Knights to throw. So on the original schedule, this was a 3-game week at home. Unfortunately, Monday's game was canceled due to injuries from the opponent. They weren't able to have a full team and had to cancel that game. So we've got tonight, and then Saturday afternoon as the Knights will play host to Wesley. Across to the middle of the box, deflected out and cleared by Ann Powell. Captains look to get it back in just over and picked up by Meredith Willett. This is Meredith's 5th start of the year. She's 2-1 on the season. And she's been a nice addition to the Knights defense.
Yeah, she has done really well.
Captains make a run. Gabby Gillis controls into the middle. A shot and a goal there. Scored by number 19, Riley Cook, the rookie who leads the Captains' offense. Her 9th goal of the season.
Yeah, she's really just been the lead attacker for the Captains all season. The Knights definitely getting a taste of how the Captains' attack can be when they're really getting on point. They had a couple players in the box there, really a dangerous attack. The Knights definitely need to be able to mark a little bit better in the box. I think just a little bit of speed getting around the corner and then got a good cross in. Knights recognizing that. Hopefully they can just mark up on the next one.
And that goal scored in the 4th minute, having some issues connecting to our scoreboard. As you see there, the scoreboard is all the way across the field from where we are in the production booth. But so the Captains lead 1-0, 5 minutes in. The Knights just look to generate some offense, keep the ball in their half of the field, and hopefully create some opportunities.
Yeah, I think really what they need here is just to be consistent. They have a style of play that has worked for them in previous games. Obviously, getting a goal scored, you want to just change things up, but they just need to stay where they are and continue to play hard. Their style has worked for them in the past, even when they've gone down early. A couple of games, they just need to maintain the possession, stay consistent. They don't want to get too rattled or anything. You can just give up anything in the defense.
In the game when we played Salisbury scored in the first few minutes of the game, and then Southern Virginia was able to hold them scoreless through the remainder. And they had some offensive chances in that game, so hopefully things can play out similarly.
Yeah, same thing against Randolph as well. Got scored on, was it 4 minutes in, something like that, very quick. And not only didn't allow Randolph to score for the remainder of the game, but scored themselves with about 6 minutes left in the game and then in the resulting overtime and ended up coming out with a win there. So we have seen the Knights get scored on fairly early in a couple of their games, but still maintain the composure for the remainder of the 90 minutes.
A shot goes wide by number 3, Carson Picorni. Another one of their leading goal scorers with 4 goals and 4 assists this season.
Looks like it may have deflected off of a Knight defender there and will result in the corner for the Captains.
Picorni will take the corner and goes out of bounds for a goal kick.
Interesting. You can definitely see him trying to play to a short player there and maybe kick it back out and then get a long kick over the top to the back post. Obviously that one just rolls right out. Didn't really benefit him at all, but clearly a drawn up play there by the Captains.
Bouncing ball finds Clarissa Barton, who gets over the middle to Cora Jewell. And Keely McCarthy will regain possession. And ball goes out, just touched by Southern Virginia. And Cook with a great cross there to Gabby Gillis. And great defense by Southern Virginia. And again, then they're drawing a foul and getting a free kick coming out.
Yeah, a lot of players in the box there. The Knights recognizing captain's very accurate if they can get a clean shot off. So just stacking players in there trying to prevent any of that. Did a good job there. Came out with a free kick.
Knights are still looking for their first goal in conference play. We will hopefully see that tonight. Christopher Newport is coming off an 11-goal win against Wesley.
You can see the captain's playing a pretty high line, keeping 3 strikers right up against the Knights' back line. They're definitely not afraid to play their players forward. You can see about 8 of them up in the attacking third, really just keeping a lot of players up there. And you can see about 4 of them closed down there on Allie Rigby, trying to get the ball away, recognizing she is a very dangerous threat for the Knights. Definitely want to keep the ball away from her if you're on the captains.
Picorni looks to make a run. Ball taken away by Ann Powell. Clears to Taylor Mercer. Intercepted. And that looked to be an offside. But they'll go with a throw-in instead.
Yeah, it would have been an offside, but she didn't actually make a play on the ball. Otherwise, she would have been called for it. Recognize that. Throw-in, much more intelligent play.
And a whistle there for offensive foul called against Riley Cook. Shirley Morales-Yan to take the kick.
Captain's really trying to get the ball into the center. You can see they got about 4 players in the middle there, really trying to just build it in, build up the sideline, and then get across in. Definitely has been their strategy as they try to do so here.
That cross finds the foot of Keely McCarthy, who goes high and over the goal. And a whistle there for offside. That Cook's pass finds a player in an advantageous offside position. And Cyan Smith to take the free kick. Taylor Mercer with good control there. Looks to find Rigby. Unable to connect with her.
Cora Jewell with some good physical play there. Good job trying to keep the ball out to the sideline. You see the captain's not able to work it down the middle there with that kind of pressure. Forcing the ball out wide. It's a good pressure there.
Long pass by Taylor Mercer. just a few steps ahead of number 16, Airdrie Palmer, as Bellinger scoops it up for a goal, for a drop kick. They mentioned earlier that CNU is coming off an 11-0 win over Wesley. The Knights will host Wesley on Saturday, and hopefully we'll be able to find a win there.
Yeah, that would be good for him just to get some momentum going. I think that was would have been nice for him on the Monday game against Potomac State College. Unfortunately, they weren't able to play that one. I think they really could have built something off of it, but may just have to get some momentum, see what they can come out with in this game, and then take it into Wesley.
Long ball there, and eventually crossed over out of bounds off Southern Virginia. A throw-in goes into the box, and a shot high. So CNU taking a lot of shots, one of them finding the net, but just continuing to show that offensive pressure.
I think the Knights are having a hard time getting out of their box. It's not necessarily that the captains are controlling the ball all the way down in their defending third, but I think the Knights maybe a little bit tentative, recognizing CNU does have very, very aggressive offense. So sometimes the defenders are, rather than pushing up the line and not allowing the pressure in, they're kind of just waiting to accept it and staying back a little bit. You can see the back four from the Knights really playing a pretty deep line, and so far haven't really come out a whole lot. Allows the captains to keep that high line, keep the pressure in. I think if, once they get possession, you want to see them kind of explode out a little bit more. Move up the sidelines. Obviously, you don't want to give up anything in the middle. The captains do stack there, but you want to see a little more movement out from the back line.
And that free kick, unsuccessful as it crosses over the end line, wide of the goal. But like you said, Sam, we've seen in other games that even on goal kicks, the defense will be up farther than they are tonight, and that speaks to, as you mentioned, the offense, the talent that CNU has. But also with our back line, I think we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with some of the speed in the back line back there. They don't really have to be too afraid of getting beat around the edge, or we've already seen a couple offsides. They know how to position themselves. I think just a little bit hesitation, a little bit of tentativeness. It is a fairly young back line as well. A couple of solid leaders back there, but again, very young, and against a pretty well-established program like Christopher Newport. Sometimes you can hear the stories, see the score, see an 11-0 win against Wesley, and play a little tentatively. I think as the game goes on, hopefully we can see the Knights move up out of the defense. You can see already ball's on the other end of the field, but even then, I think the defense from the Knights is playing a little bit back. If they can keep the pressure up, it may be able to turn the game around for them.
Well, Cyan Smith takes that throw. She's one who will come up. She has a few shots and assists on the season, and helping to lock down that back line, along with junior Ann Powell there in the middle, with sophomore Kira Tolbert, as well as senior Shirley Morales-Yan, who all of them together this season have played great in the backfield. The Knights have never given up more than 4 goals, and that was at Ferrum College early in the season.
Great save there, Meredith Ouellette. coming off her line just a little bit to shut down a little bit of the angle, able to get a good punch on that one. Pretty tough one to defend there, only about 10 or maybe 12 or so yards away, able to push that one over the crossbar. That's a good reflexes there by Meredith Ouellette.
So Picorni, whose shot was deflected, will take the corner kick. See if they try something a little different. They do. High, looking for someone on the backside there. Headed. A pass intercepted by Meredith Ouellette. Looking for Sydney Rife to head it into the goal. But Ouellette, a very aggressive goalkeeper. Not afraid to go up and get a ball. And that pass finds an offside Maxine Boris.
Yeah, definitely. She was licking her lips on that one, waiting to get the ball in. That's why she wasn't quite paying attention to the back line. Realized she was a little behind it.
So I think with that offensive possession the Knights had, the back line moving up a little bit, maybe gaining some confidence, and seeing that the Knights can get their shot even with a ranked opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a mental game. It's hard. You recognize they are a very good team, very well-established program, coached well, have a lot of talent, but at the same time, the Knights are as well. So they really just need to recognize that and move up. You saw them get the ball into the attacking third, move it around a little bit. Didn't come off with a shot on that attempt, but, recognize it's a building game. Game's 90 minutes, and you're still in it.
Rigby's early pass intercepted, deflected back. Cora Jewell or Drew Palmer working in the middle. Just looking to get across that midfield and take their chances at the goal.
You can see here as well, the Knights a little bit afraid to push up. Even the attackers not quite where they should be. Captain's got a lot of time on that throw-in. Just kind of do whatever they'd like. Creates a lot of space, but the Knights need to keep the pressure on.
Long pass down the left side. Finds Picorni. Takes 2 dribbles in. And a shot over the hands of Meredith Ouellette.
That is a very well-placed shot. Really tough for Ouellette to try to get to that one. You saw a great dive from her, but Corney just putting that right up over the top on the far post. Very, very difficult to try to get any piece of that. If you're that defender there, you just got to stop that early. Otherwise, they can punish you on that far post.
The Captains get their second goal of the game. The Knights make their first substitution, as Kayla Fairbanks will relieve Shirley Morales-Yan in the back line. Fairbanks, a freshman from Santan Valley, Arizona, in her 6th game of the year. And the Knights have some great young talent that they hope to build through this year and next year.
Absolutely. A lot of their leaders in the current season are quite young. They do have a few seniors leading the team. Cora Jewell in the midfield does really well. But as you mentioned, they do have quite a few young players as well that will be here for 2-3 more years, hopefully, and I think have a lot to build for this program.
One of those young players, Allie Rigby, leading goal scorer for the Knights. Another one here, Clarissa Barton, a sophomore from Evanston, Wyoming, who surprisingly has not scored a goal yet for the Knights. She always makes great runs, especially down the right side, and is very dangerous if her teammates can connect with her. And we've seen that as she's had a few shots this year.
Yeah, I think you're right, but what she absolutely has done is just hook up everyone else on the field. She's just champion at getting assists, does a wonderful job setting up other players, even if she doesn't come out with it herself. The cross comes in, Ouellette able to push that one across, goes out for a throw in there.
And Barton does lead the team with 3 assists. Behind her, Kylie Auger, who has 2. Another young player for the Knights, another freshman. So there's a lot to play for. This game's far from over, but even through after this game and this season, you're playing to build for later in the season, for postseason, and also for next year.
Yeah, Riley Cook making a pretty good move down there on the end line. Got a shot on goal. Will push the ball up over the crossbar into the field goal post. Will result in the corner for the Captains. Look to play that short ball that they tried earlier.
And taken away by Ann Powell, who clears it out.
A lot of Captains on the back post for that cross.
So both corner kicks from that far side, we've seen that short play. And then from this near side, we saw that long cross that seemed to maybe create some more opportunities. They nearly scored there.
Yeah, I think the Captain's really trying to take advantage of the right-footedness of their corner taker, playing a short ball on that far side, and then great kick over all the way over to the far post when they're on the near side here. Really has been pretty good. They definitely stack wherever the ball is coming. They had about 4 players in on that near post, or on the far post run rather. And when they tried that short ball, you could see when the ball came back in, they had about 4 players on the back post yet again. So they definitely are stacking the pressure. They're not hiding where it's coming from. They're just very effective at making it work for them.
Kira Tolbert takes that free kick up to Cora Jewell. Just 2 steps in front of Airdrie Palmer. That ball rolls into the Captain's keeper's hands.
She definitely has her own routine in going through before every drop kick. Even though she has the opportunity to take it a lot quicker, she has her method and routine and does the same thing before every drop kick. Very consistent.
And Ballinger's punt down to the other end. Knocked out of bounds by the Knights. Throw-in leads to a cross to the middle. That cleared away by Tolbert. And the Knights earn a throw-in near midfield. Kayla Fairbanks. Throw to the head of Taylor Mercer. It also lands out of bounds. So Southern Virginia looking for possession and a shot on goal to test Maddie Bellinger. That ball back into the Captain's attacking third and knocked out of bounds by Ann Powell.
Great job getting back there. Clarissa Barton recognizing the danger, coming from all the way upfield, doing a good job making sure that cross doesn't get into either of the Captain's players on the far post there.
Rigby looks to clear, intercepted by Sydney Rife. Sends it up the right side. And back in the middle. CNU loves to get that ball into the middle.
They're really trying hard. They had about 5 players there, and I think the strategy is to try to get into the middle, and if they can't quite get it there, even if it crosses over, they always have someone on the back post, basically unmarked, as the Knights are outnumbered occasionally, and see right now they have someone on that back post staying unmarked. Shot comes in. Roulette able to just scoop that one nice and easy.
Cora Jewell, great, aggressive, physical midfielder. Unable to quite get that one there, but just able to help control the tempo and possession in the midfield. As that will be a whistle and a foul on the captains.
Again, 4 or 5 captains coming into the box for that cross. They're very well disciplined and staying in their lane, trying to make sure they don't make the same run or overlap what they're doing, and really pretty consistent with where they're going, just keeping someone on that far post the whole time, keeping someone unmarked.
Looks like that ball crossed over the end line in the air. So it will be a goal kick, and the Knights have a chance to sub in McCall Jensen and Emma Schroeder. Captain's also making a couple of changes. So some fresh legs here with 18 minutes to go in the first half. So the Knights look to cut the captain's 2-0 lead as they go into halftime. Fairbanks steps in front of that pass. It looks to clear to Taylor Mercer, who finds nearly Clarissa Barton there on the near side.
So close on that one. I think McCall Jensen coming onto the field, good substitution by Coach Cox. She does a really good job, as she does there, maintaining the ball and trying to find a runner, find the next pass. She does a really good job, though, getting the ball, maintaining possession. Sometimes, a lot of times, playing with her back to goal, and just keeping it while the Knights can move up the field, which I think, as we mentioned earlier, they've struggled with a little bit, moving the back lineup, moving their strikers up. So McCall Jensen stepping on, able to maintain that, maybe able to bring it around for him.
Very good distributor.
Very good.
Collect and see the open man and find her. That one just a little too far for Barton, who will collect it herself on the near sideline and look to move it into captain's territory as it bounces back and is controlled by the captains. A great touch there by Emma Schroeder and working with Cyan Smith.
And this is good from the Knights, just working the ball around. See, now they have the opportunity to expand out. They are looking for that long pass down to Clarissa Barton. It has worked for them in the past. I think they're looking for it a little too early, though. They had space to move out on that one, bring the back line with them, and just work the ball forward. They are keeping that aggressive attacking mentality, which is good. But a little bit of patience with it can, bring about a little bit different result there, I think.
That captain pass intercepted by Kira Tolbert. Touch to Rigby, back to Tolbert. It goes up the far side. A little bit too aggressive there as Tolbert is whistled for a foul right at midfield.
Yeah, that one's a tough one to get away with. Jersey comes off just a little bit, about 5 yards away from the referee. He may have noticed that one, I think. Gives the captains a free kick.
Long kick. Really finds no captains. Clarissa Barton kicks that off of Keely McCarthy for a Knights throw-in. Looking to find Cora Jewell. Unfortunate there. Sometimes you're just stronger.
Cora Jewell looking to find the ball there. The ref looking to let her know that's her second warning of the game, keeping it under control. But Cora Jewell's a very physical player. She's definitely not afraid to get the ball in on that. She's just trying to get the ball, but yeah, she's strong trying to get to that one.
Jensen with space, closed down by CNU. Cleared to Barton, who is, wow.
A lot of contact on that one. Ref electing to just allow play. The AR right there had a pretty good view on it, but both the center and the side ref electing to allow play to continue.
Still a little shocked that there wasn't a whistle there.
Yeah, there is a reasonable amount of contact that's allowed from the side when you're hitting shoulders, which clearly the ref is following that logic. A little bit of shoulder contact is acceptable, but it was a fairly neutral ball, I guess. You can make the argument there, and he's the one with the whistle, so
that's right. And
play goes on.
And I'm the one with the headset today. So, substitution there for CNU as Maddie Cochran comes in, replacing Riley Cook, who scored the captain's first goal in the 4th minute. And she'll take a breather for the remaining 12 and a half minutes of the first half. And the captains will have a corner kick again on that far side.
Logan Montel out to take that. We'll see if she elects to take the short one. Looks like she's stepping that off like a field goal.
Finds the feet of their substitute, Maddie Cochran. The ball flies wide of the goal.
That's a tough corner for the Knights, though. 2 captains basically on the PK line, unmarked. I'm not sure what they're running, if they're man marking or zoning on that, but I think if they're zoning, that's a zone they need to look into, because 2 captains basically unmarked on the PK line. Not able to put the shot on frame on that one, but I can't allow the captains too many corners like that.
And that touch by Alex Miller will go again for a goal kick. Well, that's goal kick finds Rigby, knocked away by CNU, who controls on the far side. Ball cross knocked away by Ann Powell to McCall Jensen, who connects with Clarissa Barton. And that ball knocked away by CNU to the feet of the goalkeeper.
And now we see the routine again.
Similar to a free throw.
That is actually
couple
very
dribbles there.
Yeah, that's very similar. The consistency, I guess, does go up when you do it repeatedly. She kicks to about the same place every time. Hasn't rolled the ball out yet.
Great step there by Kira Tolbert. Gets in front of CNU and is then fouled. We'll take the free kick on near midfield. The free kick goes back to CNU. One back by Tolbert. Loses it at midfield.
Great clear out there. Looked like Cora Jewell clearing that one well out. Knights may have been a little bit outnumbered, so that's probably a smart play there. And definitely a smart play as they get a throw in their attacking third.
Looks for the short throw in to the feet of Cyan Smith. Pass back to Rigby, intercepted. And cleared out to the near side. And a run here by Alex Miller. And right to the left of the goal.
A lot of pace by Alex Miller down that left side, though. Getting in behind the Knights' back line. Shot definitely not on frame. May have been going a little bit too fast. Captains make another substitution.
That CNU pass will be long and go for another goal kick. Cyan Smith there just in case. Willett with the quick goal kick out to Smith. Up to Emma Schroeder. Possession regained by CNU. Shot there saved by Willett. We've seen a lot of back and forth, Sam, in this, this half of the field. Touches by a defender, nearly cleared out, intercepted back. Sometimes CNU will get a shot, and other times not.
Yeah, it's been pretty quick. They've had a variety of shots so far. That one just quick little turn and shoot, gave them just a little bit of space, and likes to just take the quick shot right into the hands of Willett on that one. But I think really the captain's strategy by and large has been really try to get that ball down the sideline. And then they have 3 strikers basically in a line right across the middle of the field. And then they'll have 1 or 2 in the middle as well behind the middle striker. And basically run almost like a T formation attack and try to keep 3 players in the middle and then 1 on the far post, 1 on the near post. Just basically stay in their lane, spread the field, so wherever the ball goes, they can try to find someone. So they definitely have a very disciplined attack once they get into the attacking third. But I think with some of their substitutions, their rhythm's gotten a little bit off. They've definitely shifted their mentality a little bit, and it has resulted in some different plays for them. You can see them running it right here. 3 players in a line and then 1 right behind, trying to find him in the middle.
That ball's touched out by Cyan Smith for a CNU throw-in. Kira Tolbert looks to clear. 1 away by Alexis Haycroft for CNU. And with the captain's formation, I think we've seen the Knights, not clearing it out of bounds as much, but trying to clear it up the field because there's so many players there in the middle that, if you're able to get out around or up to someone on the outside, you can, start a run rather than just clearing the ball and settling for a throw-in.
Yeah, and I think what would really help with that is when they do try to, just a minute ago we saw Kira Tolbert get the ball, steal it away from the captains, and then try to just dribble upfield, but the congestion, not just from the captains trying to break her down, but also from the Knights. There's a couple players in the area. They got to open out for a pass or try to create some space. If Tolbert's going to bring the ball out there, you want to see some space ahead of her. And I think the Knights, again, a little bit slow to move out of their defensive third. They have had a fairly defensive game, but again, they've had their opportunities in their attacking third as well. I think really it's just the mentality of getting out of the defense, getting back upfield. Could really open things up for him.
That low rolling shot by Alex Miller, saved by Willett, cleared to midfield. Now controlled by Kayla Fairbanks. Finds Clarissa Barton on the near side. Back to Fairbanks. Making a run down the right side. And pass not quite strong enough to Emma Schroeder. But rolls out for a Knights throw-in. I think looking there for Barton's feet, unable to find him, and rolls to the goalkeeper. 2 dribbles, and she's ready to shoot it.
Like 5 on that one. Changing up the rhythm a little bit.
But a great punt over midfield, touched by Ann Powell. And the captains are able to win it back. So we've got just over 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Knights looking to hold or cut this captain's lead down. As CNU's up 2-0 with goals in the 4th and the 21st minutes. Scored by Riley Cook and Carson Picorni. As the captain switched fields. And a deep shot high off the upright by number 17, Sydney Rife.
That's a very long shot there, especially with 4 attackers ahead of you and really a lot of room to work with. 30-yard shot coming from there. That's a pretty bold, aggressive shot right there.
It's almost good for a field goal. Definitely high of the goal.
Looked close. Might have been the holder's fault on that one, though.
And that'll roll for a goal kick.
As we saw earlier on the play, a lot of contact there, but the ref allowing the shoulder contact on that one.
And we've got 2 minutes to play in the first half as that ball is controlled by Alexis Haycroft. Intercepted and touched by Allie Rigby, who's fouled. The Knights will take a free kick. Cora Jewell to serve it in. Knights need to take advantage of these last 90 seconds. Sun right in the keeper's eyes. Hopefully we'll be down during halftime for the second half and not in Willette's eyes. But a minute and a half here to hopefully make something happen.
It's a good opportunity for them. They got the ball in the attacking third. All they need to do is try to get into the center, which they have done. Barton on the ball.
One touch and touched away by CNU. Looking to clear. Knights regain possession at midfield. Schroeder to Rigby. Touched away. But controlled by Ann Powell. 45 seconds. Knights playing with a little bit of urgency. The captain's whistled there for a foul.
Yeah, not going to get away with that one. That's not shoulder. When you're from behind, can't put that kind of pressure on. So good to see the consistency there on the calls.
Jewell falls to the ground, gets it away to Rigby, who's pushed, but with 7 seconds, that might not be a foul. As time winds down. And the whistle blows. So Christopher Newport 2, Southern Virginia scoreless after 45 minutes of play. Goals scored by Riley Cook in the 4th minute and Carson Picorni in the 21st. So Sam, what's Coach Cox going to bring up at halftime?
I think she's got a couple points to bring up. The first thing is, as we mentioned in previous games, you got to use your strengths. And the Knights have a very quick lineup. They have a lot of players that are very fast. And I think a couple of quick counters is really going to help them. They need to explode out, though. They've been a little bit weak in coming out and really playing high. They have had the ball in their attacking third, but even then, the defense hasn't really stepped up. They feel a little bit of the pressure from CNU having 3 strikers up consistently. But I think with that takes CNU a little bit out of their style. They're clearly a rhythm team, as we've seen from their goalie demonstrating very well. If they're not in that rhythm, though, I think their strategy starts to fall apart just a little bit, as we saw, when Maddie Bellinger not able to pick the ball up and she has to make a quick decision, she kicks it out of bounds. So I think, as we've seen, Christopher Newport's a very structured team, but they have that rhythm, and if you can get them off of that by those quick counters and the speed that the Knights have, I think you could get something there. And as we saw from their attack, they really don't attack with anything that the Knights haven't seen. They do the same thing. They have 3 players run in the lane, front post, middle, back post, and then they'll have a player just behind that line. If you can prevent that, and those 2 goals are off the board.
Absolutely. And just getting the ball, keeping the ball on the offensive side of the field, clearing it out. We've seen, as you mentioned, the Knights aren't just looking to kick it out of bounds, but looking to get it upfield. And ever since that first goal and even the second goal, I think we've seen the Knights kind of improve, connecting those passes, controlling the ball. And that's what they need to do in this second half. And Christopher Newport's a great team, ranked number 9th in the nation. And this can be, would be the biggest win in program history, really in school history, against a ranked opponent in the top 10. And the Knights are not out of this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
A couple opportunities, a couple shots, and the tides will change. So we'll take a break and be back for second half action as Christopher Newport leads Southern Virginia 2-0 in Capital Athletic Conference women's soccer. Welcome back to the fields at Southern Virginia University as we prepare for second half action with Christopher Newport and Southern Virginia in Capital Athletic Conference women's soccer. Again, I'm Nick Porter, joined by Sam Horman, who will give us kind of a recap, Sam, of what happened in the first half.
Yeah, Christopher Newport came out pretty strong. Had a goal about 4 minutes in by Riley Cook, assisted by Gabby Gillis. Really just a cross into the center, created a little space for herself, and Cook put the ball on frame. And then in the 19th minute, Carson Picorni got around the edge of the Knights' defense and then just placed a beautiful shot in the upper corner on the far post. And that really has brought the 2 goals and a couple of stats. Christopher Newport definitely dominating the shots in the first half, coming in with 14 in the first half. Meredith Willette doing a good job getting 5 saves in the first half as well, not allowing anything the Knights couldn't come back from. Really just 2-0 going into half, but the Knights definitely staying in it.
So here we go, second half action. Knights looking to create some offense, have a shot. As we see the front line there of Allie Rigby, Taylor Mercer, Clarissa Barton, Emma Schroeder, McCall Jensen, and Cora Jewell in the middle. And Ann Powell wins the ball away from CNU. Cleared up by Cora Jewell to Clarissa Barton. Now, what I'm seeing from the Knights is a lot of positivity. You saw smiles and high heads coming out of the huddle in the second half. Trailing 2-0, you're still in this game against a very good ball club who's ranked 9th in the nation, 7th in the nation in some polls. But an overall, a great competitor, and you're down 2-0 and have a chance to score and maybe to win a game.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what they need to do. I think in the first half they were a little bit maybe passive in some of their play, a little bit passive in the defense, moving upfield, a couple of things. So it seems a little bit silly, but I think they just need to settle down a little bit. I think they came in maybe recognizing CNU a very good team, but they need to settle down, but also get fired up. As you mentioned, a lot of energy coming out from the first half huddle there, and I think they're bringing it in. You saw right at the kickoff, they ran out quick, had 5 players up in the attack. So I think those are the 2 things, and they're doing it here. Barton looking for Rigby, gets a shot.
First shot, good for a field goal.
That's great by the Knights, though. I think they're doing, maybe they're listening to the commentary, settle down and get fired up. It's basically what they need to do, and that's what they did there. Results in a great shot, basically open, able to put that one wherever she wanted, Rigby, but not quite where she wanted that one, I don't think.
Well, when you get it done once, that's something you can do again. And so the Knights are going to win this ball back, take it up, and I think we'll see a few more shots this half. Is that long pass down to a quick Maxine Boris?
Christopher Newport coming in with a counter of their own, getting it across, going back to their goal scorer, Riley Cook, trying to find her in the middle. Nothing the Knights didn't see in the first half, though. That's the exact same strategy they saw earlier.
McCall Jensen there working in the midfield. One away by CNU, who takes a long, deep shot.
Yeah, that's a smart one there, recognizing the sun still in Ouellette's eyes just a little bit. So those shots 30 yards out or a little bit more or less is they're definitely a lot harder to get to when you can't see the ball.
Yeah, anything can happen when you factor the sun. Unfortunate the Knights weren't able to get any shots last half when that would have been to their advantage. And that ball cleared out by Ann Powell.
I think that was a smart play. I'm not sure Oulette was able to come off the line that fast on that one. Ann Powell just looking to clear that out, doing a good job there.
That CNU pass a little behind her teammate, intercepted by Ann Powell, touched up to Cora Jewell. One away by Sydney Reif, who kicks it out of bounds on the far side. Southern Virginia to throw.
I think it's interesting to note as well, Coach Cox electing to keep quite a few of her substitutes that she made in the first half on. You see McCall Jensen up in the field there. You see Kayla Fairbanks in the defense for the Knights as well. Recognizing things changed up a little bit in the first half and electing to keep those players out. I think McCall Jensen, a good idea. As we mentioned when she came on, very good at possessing the ball. Does a really good job looking downfield and keeping the vision for the Knights.
Absolutely. Also Emma Schroeder there in the midfield. And that ball called, whistled for an offside. Cyan Smith able to take the kick. Gets the ball back again, up to Schroeder. Looks to find Rigby down the sideline. Does, successful. And Cyan Smith making a run of her own. Up from the defending third. And we see Cyan do that a lot. Great defender, but also willing and able to come and make an offensive run. Taking corner kicks and throw-ins up in the attacking third. This one just on the wrong side of the corner flag will be a throw-in.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Cyan Smith does a wonderful job as a wing-back defender. Really good on the back line. Does a good job pressuring the attackers and keeping the ball in front of her. But then, as you mentioned, gets upfield really well. You see her tracing back already now, trying to play defense. But while she was up there, an attacking threat and something that the captains need to counter for. So she's a very good wing-back defender and knows how to play her position well.
So she has 11 shots on the season. But being able to go forward as a defender, shows also some trust in your other defenders, in Kira Tolbert and Ann Powell and Kayla Fairbanks, who's back there. And that's a great thing. If you can trust, that your defensive line can hold on while you make a run forward, that's great, and it produces another threat, another body for CNU to consider.
Yeah, absolutely, and it shows a level of maturity as well in a defender because, as we mentioned in the first half, I think the back line was playing a little bit tentatively, but Cyan Smith really doing a good job getting upfield, recognizing, she's just as much of a threat when she's around the ball wherever she is. So playing up, she has had a few good opportunities earlier in the season for some goal-scoring opportunities, but then right now back on defense, going to battle and making a tough run down the sideline.
Great tackle there made by Smith. We'll go out of bounds past the end line for the fifth corner kick of the game, first of the half. And this is the side that we want to take a corner kick from, as the sun is on the far side of the field. Carson Picorni lined up for the shot with the deep ball headed in to the side of the net, over the line by Gabby Gillis.
You can see Christopher Newport there trying to get back into their rhythm. You can see on that corner, Picorni stepping off on that kick, trying to line up the kick. I'm sure they've worked that play in practice. Clearly had a bunch of players on the back post, recognizing where the ball is going. It's something they have drawn up. And it's difficult to get a team out of rhythm on a corner kick, but I think really in the first 9 minutes of the half, the Knights have done a good job kind of controlling the game more than they did in the first half and not allowing CNU to just dictate the pace of the game or the control of it. Knights doing a good job working the ball out of the defense here. It's good to see the defense moving up with that. And Powell a foot race now. One that she frequently wins, does a great job.
And Powell's one of the fastest players on the field. I'd love to see a 40 or 100 yard dash with her against anyone.
Yeah, she is just incredibly quick, and I think a lot of strikers don't realize that until she's already taken the ball away from them. Yeah, Maddie Bellinger, I think really hasn't really been challenged too much so far. She's mostly just had a few drop kicks that have rolled her way, but I think as we just saw there, ball's bouncing a little bit. She seemed a little bit tentative to approach it or do anything, and eventually just kicks it out of bounds. The Knights really need to get in and challenge her. As we mentioned earlier, she's only played about 80 minutes this entire season leading up into this game, so this is her first start, and I think a little bit more pressure, and the Knights may be able to crack there a little bit.
They'll have to win it back to have another opportunity for that as Cook passes it over to Pokorny at the top of the goal. Intercepted by Kira Tolbert. Up to Rigby, who eventually wins it there in the middle. Looking to find Emma Schroeder, but just a little long. And the captains look to set up another opportunity. Sun's starting to set. So a little more shade, a little easier for Meredith Willett to see the ball. McCall Jensen very sure on her feet, very good ball control. Distributes that pass over to Cora Jewell. Up to Rigby. And there's the whistle there for a foul against Shea Doherty.
I like to see a little bit more flair there from the Knights. See a couple of them pulling a couple moves on some of the captains. That's good to see. A little bit of energy, a little bit of emotion coming into the game. I think they were a little flat-footed in the first half, but really picked it up here.
Absolutely. After, a tough 3-0 loss at Penn State Harrisburg, only being down 2-0 to, a top 10 team, that feels good, and it feels like you're in the right spot, and also, or especially, to have a chance to score a goal against CNU, who hasn't allowed a goal in their last two games, their two conference games against Wesley or York. Last goal they allowed was against Roanoke College, that they won 4-1 on September 20th.
Well, and also only allowing 8 goals this entire season, the captain's defense. So, to get any sort of attack against them really is something. And the Knights have continually shown that they're getting pretty close. They're knocking on the door.
Long pass there by Gabby Gillis finds an offside captain.
Yeah, Maxine Boris again looking for that through ball, trying to get it just a little bit behind the Knights' defensive line there. Did a good job stepping up. Captain's looking to counter quickly again.
Tough pass there to a newly substituted Alyssa Winterton. Intercepted by CNU. Eventually goes for a shot and the save.
That there is a smart play. Willett looked like she was trying to jump the cross coming in. She was a little bit off her line, but recognizing you gotta take each play for what it is, and did the smart thing. Got back on her line and took the shot. Looked like captain's trying to sneak one in there, but Willett doing a good job playing what's in front of her.
The Knights thought it was their throw-in. It looks like at the end of a quick discussion it is. Fairbanks to throw. Finds the foot of Winterton. Touched away by Christopher Newport. McCall Jensen in the mix. Won by Kira Tolbert, who has some space, and will pass it up to Taylor Mercer. Great ball to Allie Rigby. Touched just a little too far to the hands of Bellinger. But another great run. Knights offense showing that they're not going to go away.
Great job there. Ann Powell engaged in a 2-on-1. So close. Can't let that cross come in. Recognizing she's a little bit outnumbered. Does a good job. Even the corner there, coming away with the corners, pretty good on that kick. See the captains stacking the back post already. They're lining up, much like they did on some of their previous ones. Playing it short, though.
Ooh, that pass by Lexi Manley. Headed outside the goal for a goal kick, as we've got about 30 minutes remaining in the second half. On a beautiful night in Buena Vista. Maybe one of the best we've had so far this year. It looks like maybe a substitution or an injury, or McCall Jensen steps off the field. Airdrie Palmer will enter. And a little discussion between referee Anthony Trabati and Coach Mackenzie Cox. Looking ahead, Saturday the Knights host Wesley College. Wesley is also 3-6-1, same record as the Knights. 0-3 in conference with an 11-0 loss to CNU. Yesterday they fell 3-2 to Marymount, and in their first conference game against Frostburg State, the Wolverines lost 3-1. So Wesley looking for their first Capital Athletic Conference win. The Knights looking for a home victory. Still a chance to get one here tonight. And then playing host to Wesley. 5:30 kickoff. That game will be followed by the men's game, who will also play Wesley on Saturday after homecoming football. So a big weekend looking up as Maxine Boris dribbles that one out of bounds on the end line to go for the Southern Virginia goal kick.
It's definitely going to be a busy Saturday for Southern Virginia Athletics. Triple header then, homecoming for the football team as well, taking on Apprentice. A lot of big games that day. I think the Wesley game in particular for this women's team, one they want to come away with. Wesley not particularly on a hot streak as well. The Knights recognizing that and want to take advantage of that.
Shot by Gabby Gillis, blocked by Ann Powell. Taken back to near the midfield line. You mentioned busy Saturday, especially for you, Sam, playing a football game and then on the air for both the women's and the men's soccer games. I'll be here for all of those games as well.
And then the dance that night and everything.
You got a date?
Not yet. Working on it.
It's never too late.
No. Still got easily 3 days. Captains make a good run down to the far post. Carson Picorni making another run down the side. Able to keep her on side on that one. The shot goes well wide of the post though.
So a familiar spot as Willette takes a goal kick. This one to a jumping Airdrie Palmer. And again later won by Kira Tolbert. And touched out of bounds for a captain's throw-in by Shea Doherty. And Riley Cook in the box with the ball that's touched out of bounds, and will go for a corner kick. So anything better than a goal.
That was a graceful slide tackle there by Kira Tolbert. I am not able to do those. I come in and it just looks dysfunctional, but that was actually quite a tactical slide.
And it worked out, saving a goal there. That corner kick goes high to the far post, headed, and beautiful save by Meredith Willette, punching it over. And it looks like Anthony Tribati will force them to switch to the opposite corner. Not sure about that one. But
that's pretty tough to tell which side of the net it went out on, but the ref is in a better position to make that call, and as we mentioned earlier, we don't have the whistle, so he gets to make that decision.
You know, there was a time where I did do a lot of officiating of soccer.
It has been a long time for me, though.
And I would have just put that back on the same side and not made everybody switch. So that one rolls out for a goal kick. And with 26 minutes remaining, the Knights are still looking for their first goal of the game.
Electing to play the ball short here. Trying to work it out of the defense. Ooh, a lot of contact on that one with Airdrie Palmer. And then some contact afterwards with Shane Doherty. But the ref electing to take the first call there. I'm sure. Yeah, that's a tough one.
So Airdrie Palmer whistled for the foul. Beautiful ball there by Christopher Newport's Danielle Pratt. Finding the feet of her teammate, but into the side of the net. Captains regain control in the midfield. Looking to get it up, touched away by Winterton. And then by Jewell, eventually won by Riley Cook. Again, the rookie for Captains who lead them in goals scored this season. That pass cleared out by Ann Powell. Brought right back in by the Captains as they take a shot there.
A lot of argument for a handball there. I think that one's a tough one. There's no time to react on that one. 5 yards away, Ann Powell just turns, and it may have hit her on the elbow or somewhere close to that, but I think that's going to be a tough one to make the call, and I think the ref making the right decision there.
Absolutely. You know, the definition of that call is deliberately handling the ball or, handling, and, oftentimes that comes with intent or, if your arm's in a not playing position. That one just by Ann's side.
I think that is the right call as compared to the Merritt Weeks handling of the ball that we saw in the men's game the other day.
That was very deliberate.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
He did save the goal, but conceded a penalty kick, and hard loss for that team the other night.
Yeah, but I think Ann Powell doing the right thing there. She's just in the right position. She's gotten hit on a couple of those tonight. She just knows where the ball's going. Just has that sense for it as a defender.
That ball out of bounds, touched by the Knights for a corner kick. As the ball goes up, the Captains are whistled for a foul. A little too much pushing.
I think the Captains starting to get just a little bit frustrated. They really haven't been able to execute their game. As I mentioned in the end of the first half, they have a rhythm, and it's clearly worked for them. Their record speaks for itself. Ooh, might have seen a little contact with the hand there too. So the ball came down. Ref not calling that one either, but they do have their rhythm, and I think the Knights have done a really good job of getting them out of it. It's a different style than I think a lot of the other teams that they've played use, and so really the Captains haven't been able to build a whole lot like they normally do, especially in particular in their last game, coming out with 11 goals. To be settling for 2 with only 22 minutes left in the game, the Knights doing a good job of keeping them out of rhythm.
And this is a team that's used to scoring goals. 11 last game. Some of their other margins have been 3, 5. So a very offensive-minded team.
Yeah, in 10 games, they've had 38 goals, so just under 4 goals a game. But the Knights keeping them out of it here.
Substitution made by Southern Virginia as Shirley Morales-Yan replaces Kayla Fairbanks on the defensive line. A couple of throw-ins later, the Knights are making their way up the field. That throw-in back to Shirley, touched away by the captains who regain it at midfield. Good communication there by Maxine Boris, helping her teammate to gain control on a pass that is deflected out of bounds by the Knights, and we'll go for yet another corner kick. And that's short. Not quite as long as we've seen it before. Finds the foot of Riley Cook. And CNU takes a 3-0 lead.
I think that just caught the Knights off guard. No one was expecting that ball to come in that short, bounced up off the ground, and almost just deflected it into the back of the net. It wasn't particularly a shot or a pass. It just kind of deflected it inside of the foot, hoped it went in, and everybody just kind of watched it go through. That was just a quick little ricochet kick, and it just fell into the back of the net.
That's something we haven't seen from the captains as far as a corner kick. They've all been deliberately short and kind of rolling, or long and finding somebody on the back post. So, but that one finding Riley Cook, a great just shot into the top of the net. Great idea by Willette. Really the only option there to come out and get that ball. She clears it, touched by Airdrie Palmer. Possessed by CNU. Taylor Mercer, Clarissa Barton looking to win that ball away. And Senior brings it up past midfield. Passes switch the field over to Boris, who takes it against Cyan Smith. Great pass and look in the middle. And that shot by Gabby Gillis goes over the crossbar. So just like you mentioned, Sam, again, that formation, 3 up front. Gillis there sitting back behind and gets herself a shot out of it. So
I'm kind of surprised on that shot. She's only 7 yards out. She managed to put that about 15 yards over, though. Yeah, she's got to just get on top of that one, put it in the back of the net. But maybe a little bit of pressure from the Knights keeping her off a clean shot on that one.
Returning to the field is Emma Schroeder, as well as McCall Jensen. Back after a quick break on the sideline. Christian Newport throw in. The pass served into the middle, controlled by Gillis. Drops it back to Boris, who dribbles it out of bounds. Almost saved it back into the middle, but crosses the end line.
You see a lot of her teammates calling for that on that back post. I think captains just tasted that goal, and now they're getting a little bit more excited about it.
And we'll see a substitution here as Mackenzie Taylor will replace Taylor Mercer. And Mackenzie, a sophomore from Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Be interesting to see Mackenzie Taylor. Hasn't really had a whole lot of playing time this season. She's only really entered 1 game. Interesting substitution there by Coach Cox. We'll see what she brings to the table in the attack.
That pass intercepted by Willette, who has done a great job in goal, although has allowed 3, has made some excellent saves, challenged some great balls. And she's been an asset to the team since joining them 6 games ago.
She really has. She's stepped in and done quite well.
So the Knights have a couple options at the keeper position. Willette, as we've seen tonight, as well as Carmel Hardy, who's had a couple of starts this season as well. And Katie Vaughn, who started early in the season for the Knights, then suffered a concussion and has since had some time in the field. So a couple of versatile players that the Knights have and options in goal. All of which have another season next year. Willette and Hardy, Armstrong, the former Carmel Hardy, now Carmel Armstrong, both juniors, with Katie Vaughn a freshman.
That's great news if you're Coach Cox. You know, if you want to build a program, obviously the players got to be able to stick around. And having seen all of the goalies come in and have some time, you know, it's good that they'll be back for another year, bring that leadership. We've seen some of the other players that have brought that leadership really benefits the team. A couple of substitutions there by the captain, number 34, Olivia Bolton, and number 6, Alex Miller, step on.
For the Knights, Kayla Fairbanks. So with one exception, the Knights are back the way they started the second half. Cora Jewell fouled in the defensive third. Fairbanks will take the free kick. And see if the Knights can't make an offensive run here and put something on frame or in the net. That ball goes to Jensen. High pass up to Taylor. Knocked back across midfield. Nearly won by Barton, who a little contact and falls to the ground. Cora Jewell with a great tackle in the middle. Time to control. Tough pass there. 4 defenders around her. That one intercepted.
Yeah, you can only hold on to the ball so long sometimes. Captains definitely don't want to give too much time to any one player on the ball.
Deep CNU pass. And Powell called off by Willette. Runs out 15 yards away from the line to scoop that one up. Mackenzie Taylor working for a possession there. Great touch by Kira Tolbert, knocking it away from Gillis. A little miscommunication there as Rigby kind of left it for Tolbert.
I think at the same time, Tolbert kind of left it for Rigby just a little bit.
Absolutely. So the ball finds its way to Meredith Willette, who punts it over the midfield line. And Cora Jewell wins the ball at midfield as a couple of substitutions come to the line for the next opportunity. And we'll have a whistle in the middle and a foul against Southern Virginia. Just got a score update from men's tennis. They hosted Randolph this afternoon. Men's tennis team won 9-0. So 3 straight wins in doubles and 6 straight in singles. So the men's tennis team having a fantastic season.
Long kick in there by the captains, ends up in the hands of Ouellette after a couple of bounces, but almost behind the line of the Knights there.
Dangerous opportunity for CNU there, as a couple captains could have put a foot on it.
Now have a few more substitutions enter the field for both teams. Taylor Mercer re-entering and Airdrie Palmer as well.
The women's tennis team also played Randolph today. After doubles, they were up 2-1. Haven't received word about the singles scores yet. As I mentioned, men's tennis 6-0, now 7-0 after today. And what was their last match of their fall season? They'll start up again in February. Conference play will begin in March. So men's tennis having a very successful year. Looking for their 3rd straight postseason berth, and hopefully, getting in and then winning the championship late in April.
A lot more contact coming up in the last 15 minutes of this game. Ref so far electing to pretty much allow everyone to play. I think both teams have done a pretty good job, and nothing malicious, just a lot of contact, but interesting to see as both teams continue to be aggressive going for the ball.
Smith races towards the near sideline to save that from going out of bounds. Great pass up to Airdrie Palmer, who has a touch, and it's kicked out of bounds by CNU. We'll go for a corner kick. And Southern Virginia now with a set piece opportunity.
That's a best case scenario for him. Airdrie Palmer, not really any opportunity for anything. She beat pretty much everybody down the field, and captain's player kicked it out there, and results in a corner for the Knights, which is basically a best case scenario as they put Taylor Mercer on the ball now.
Her kick, beautiful goal, scored by Cora Jewell from Taylor Mercer. Fantastic set piece corner kick. Mercer finds Cora Jewell.
Ball just falls right in the center. The captain's not even moving on that one, not even making an effort for it. Cora Jewell runs in from the 18. Taylor Mercer just drops it right on her foot. And Cora Jewell just pokes that right into the back of the net. Totally unmarked, totally just nobody even in the area. That's the simplest goal they're going to score all season.
So the Knights cut CNU's lead to 2, back to 2 in their first goal here late in the second half. CNU leads 3-1, and there's still time.
And now there's a lot of energy. You see the Knights definitely 10 minutes left in this game. They're feeling it. That goal jazzes you up a little bit, and you're ready to play now.
So now of the 9 goals the captains have allowed, the number 9 captains have allowed this season, 1 coming tonight from Cora Jewell. Kira Tolbert looks for Airdrie Palmer. Not quite there. And Ouellette looking for an open night. Bounces over a few heads, finds the feet of Cora Jewell. Now Kira Tolbert with time. We'll go inside to Cyan Smith, down line to Palmer. His centering pass is intercepted. And a very unfortunate pass by Riley Cook, scored by Alex Miller.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think the Knights maybe just got a little bit too aggressive. Really, they get that opening taste of a goal, and then you just kind of start going for it. I think just letting a little bit behind the line there. That run's been pretty consistent so far in this game, but can't allow that one through there.
Meredith Willett in the area, closing in quickly, not quite able to get there.
Yeah, that one's so hard because you do have to come off your line so fast, but at the same time, try to be balanced, try to be composed, and be able to take up as much space as you can, as much of the goal as you can. And the captain's just sneaking that one right by her.
So the score now 4-1, just under 8 minutes to play. That goal kick knocked back into the attacking third, Southern Virginia. The Knights looking for another opportunity, hungry for more.
I think that's also been a consistent thing with this women's team. They do not give up. They almost play some of their best soccer within the last 15 minutes. That's been a pretty consistent thing we've seen from them in a lot of games. They get a lot of goals late in the second half. Continuing the trend here against one of the best teams in the country. See the captains trying to get back to their strength, working down the sideline, cross it in. Lands on the feet of one of the captain's players, but the Knights do a good job of clearing that one out. See Maxine Boris gets the ball down in the corner again. Captain's trying to play to her.
So 6:30 left to play. Captains possessed near midfield. Two goals in the first half, two for the second for the Captains. Southern Virginia sneaking a goal in off of a Taylor Mercer corner kick, playing the head of Cora Jewell just a few minutes ago. And a quick answer by CNU as Cora Jewell, who just stepped off for a quick breather, replaces McCall Jensen.
That's a very quick substitution there. She was really only off about 2 or 3 minutes. Just long enough to get some water maybe and step back on.
Emma Schroeder finds Airdrie Palmer down the sideline. The Captains are in a throw-in. Touched by Smith to Rigby. And again possessed by CNU.
Captain's really trying to use some of that speed down the sideline. Player maybe just a little bit too fast. Forgot to bring the ball with her on that one. She actually outran the ball. So a lot of speed getting down that sideline, but...
And Powell quickly taking advantage, getting the ball up closer to midfield. Captains regain possession once again. Long pass, finding a streaking Maxine Boris. Shot wide of the goal will go for a goal kick. So a few positive things we've seen tonight, Sam. That goal by Cora Jewell, just getting some energy. We saw only trailing 2 at half and coming out with a lot of positive energy. 2 points to a number 9 team. Doesn't seem that bad. It seems like it's not insurmountable. And they showed that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm Coach Cox addressing the film on this game, I'm not unhappy with a lot of the things that they've done. Obviously, some things to correct. A couple things that aren't going to make you too excited. But really, they've played a pretty consistent game, played pretty well, had their opportunities, took great advantage of the very few corner kicks that they've had this game. Really capitalized on the one here in the second half. But I think if you're Coach Cox looking at this, there's a lot here. I mean, this is arguably the best team you're going to play this season. And you scored against them, and you've really, by and large, kept them out of their game. They have gotten some goals, but for the most part, you've played your game, and you're home. You gotta try to keep them out of it, and I think they've done a good job. So there really is a lot to build from this game.
Also, that goal by Cora Jewell, the first goal against a Capital Athletic Conference opponent, as the Knights were held scoreless in a 1-0 loss against Salisbury, and on Saturday 3-0 at Penn State Harrisburg. So just a lot of confidence. We've seen great work by the defense here tonight, and offense as well, getting a couple opportunities, capitalizing on one. So a lot of things going forward, especially going into Saturday's game against Wesley. That's a very winnable game. If the Knights are able to play as they have tonight, they'll be able to pick up a few wins down the stretch here as we enter the final 4 weeks of conference play.
Yeah, certainly. If you're able to score against one of the top 10 teams in the country, you're definitely going to be able to score, against some of the other opponents like a Wesley who hasn't had the best of luck in their last 3 games, hasn't gotten a win yet. So there's a lot of confidence that comes in scoring against a team like Christopher Newport and really just playing as well as they have. So it's a great build for the weekend.
A great takeaway there by Meredith Willett, coming all the way to the end of her box to get that ball. And with 2 minutes remaining, Captains will take a throw in. I just got a text from the women's tennis coach. Currently up 4-3 with 2 matches to go. So winning one will secure the victory. Randolph's able to take them both. Knights will fall in a well-fought match, so we'll see how that one ends up.
Great move there, Clarissa Barton. Trying to break into the center, does so. Able to find Airdrie Palmer out on the side.
Airdrie's mom here in town to support the Highland, Utah native. So a couple parents who have made the trip tonight, and who will also be here on Saturday. Just under a minute to go. CNU possesses near midfield. They're just looking to really possess the ball because they know the Knights can make a run, and Cyan Smith looks to start one of those to Taylor Mercer. Well long. And picked up by Maddie Bellinger.
Able to take a lot of time off the clock with that free throw routine yet again. Knights may get one more opportunity here with about 15 seconds, and ball rolls out for another throw-in. That may be able to do it for the Knights.
Looks like Kira Tolbert down on one knee. And we'll stop the clock with 4 seconds left.
Oh, that's the last thing you want to see if you're the Knights right now. Definitely don't want any injuries. 4 seconds left in the game. Not a whole lot you can do, especially Kira Tolbert. Has done really well for the Knights in the back line. I think they may just bring her off here and run the last 4 seconds off. It's really unfortunate. I hadn't seen any major collision or anything with her. I'm not sure what the extent of the injury there.
So that'll do it here in Buena Vista. Final score, Christopher Newport 4, Southern Virginia 1. Goalkeeper Maddie Bellinger for the Captains, earning her first win of the year in her first start of the year. And number 9 knocks off Southern Virginia in conference play. A lot of good things to take from tonight. Looking ahead to Saturday as Knights host Wesley.
Yeah, I think if you're the Knights here, you're definitely you're looking at the start of the second half. I think that was really where they came out strong. You saw just a lot more energy. The first half, they were a little bit flat. I think a couple of their players maybe, not too familiar with the program, Christopher Newport, and just hearing some stories about them, they have performed exceptionally well in the past, and that can be a lot on the mind. And so I think they played a little bit timid. I think if they come out with that same energy in the first half that they did in the second half, and especially with about 15 minutes left in the second half as well, they really started to string some of their passes together, started to play their way, got Christopher Newport off the ball, kept them out of their own style of play. I think if they brought that same energy for the full 90 minutes of the game, the one goal that they had, brilliant, but so simple, just so easy. It was a pass straight to the foot of Cora Jewell off a corner, and she just hit it in the back of the net. It was one of the simplest goals they're going to have this year. If they just continue to attack, I don't think Maddie Bellinger had a particularly strong game in many aspects. She largely removed from the game in many aspects, but I think if they just continue to challenge the goalkeeper, continue to just put the pressure on and just do what they did in those moments where they had that energy, I think if they just bring that and don't fall into the trap of being intimidated by a team that's been built, had a coach that's there longer or anything like that, I think we'll see a little bit of a different result. They are coming away with one goal here and only giving up 4, but that's the 9th goal of the year that Christopher Newport has allowed. That's not that many, so to score against one of the best teams in the nation definitely speaks to the character of this women's squad here.
So just the one shot on goal for Southern Virginia that went in the net from Cora Jewell. Just to recap, Christopher Newport struck early in the 4th minute with a goal by Riley Cook, assisted by Gabby Gillis. Again, their second goal in the first half in the 20th minute from Carson Picorni. And then the first goal of the second half, 69th minute, Riley Cook again, finding the net from Maxine Boris. Cora Jewell connecting on that corner kick in the 81st minute. And then just a couple of minutes after, in the 83rd minute, Alex Miller from Riley Cook. And the Captains were able to take a 4-1 win as they continue play this week. Knights will host Wesley. First football kickoff at 1 p.m. Women's soccer 5:30. Men's soccer will also host Wesley immediately following 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So a great weekend, a lot of things to look forward to. Very successful night here. Men's tennis with the win 9-0. Women's soccer scoring a goal against number 9 in the country, Christopher Newport, who wins their third Cap Athletic Conference game. So from all of us here at Southern Virginia, Nick Porter, Sam Horman, as well as our broadcasting team, Aaron Rembaugh, Keenan Carroll, and Craig Reese, thank you. Go Knights, and we'll see you Saturday.